Today, we're going to check out a brand new Terminid enemy that was discovered within the files. I'll go over a known issue within the latest patch. Not only that, I'll talk about how fans want a nerf. Yeah, that's strange. But that's not all. I'll be covering much more. If you find the video informative at any point, consider tapping the like button below, subscribing, and turning on notifications. Alrighty, Helldivers, let's kick off the video by showcasing an enemy found through data mining. If you'd prefer to avoid early reveals and spoilers, I recommend checking the video description below and selecting a different timestamp to skip ahead. With that warning out of the way, let's dive in. This enemy, data mined by Ironsights, is a new strain enemy type called Spore Burst. In a post on X, Ironsights revealed this discovery, and I'll show the clip in just a moment. Apparently, these Spore Burst enemies explode upon death, releasing a cloud of spores that stuns everything nearby, while also dealing a small amount of damage. Next, let's take a closer look at how the Spore Burst appear in-game. They resemble bug spitters or even a smaller version of a nursery spewer, particularly in how their sacks burst. You guys know what I'm talking about. Nonetheless, I love how the Terminids have evolved into such menacing creatures. You'll also notice another enemy in this clip that we haven't encountered before. This one is reportedly no longer part of the Predator strain. Ironsights mentioned this on X, stating, "Quick update on this, while I was gone, the API got updated, and these are no longer a part of the Predator strain. They have their own dedicated strain that is currently being worked on." Yep, so this one in particular is no longer a part of the Predator strain. This doesn't mean they won't be included, it just means that they're going to have their own unique strain, which I suppose makes sense, right? The Predator strain is based off of enemy types that hunt down their victims and can camouflage themselves. I suspect eventually the Helldivers 2 developers will reveal a new strain related to these new enemy types. Ironsights also mentioned this towards the bottom of his post and wrote, "Lots of confusion here with the naming in the files, but Spore Burst bugs have their own dedicated strain now. They were previously included with Predators. We might see small updates to the units once released." Now again, these two enemies might share a unique strain, possibly grouped together like how Hunters and Stalkers currently are. Can you imagine if the developers are cooking up something with the Bloodstains and Chargers as well? They must be, right? You can't just modify 4 different enemies and not adjust the others. So I do recall discussing with some of you in the comments about how they could cloak a Bloodstains, which would be terrifying, or perhaps cloak Chargers. However, I doubt the developers will do that, considering we already have a Predator strain type enemies, and soon there will be a new strain for the enemies we've just discussed. I suspect they'll introduce another strain type for the larger enemy types. If you have any ideas on what changes could be made to the Bloodstains, Chargers, or even the Impalers, let me know. Let's have a great conversation about it. Speaking of the new strains, I was tagged in the Glitch Unlimited Discord where Jin pointed out the similarity between the bug icon and the Jet Brigade icon. This might suggest that things will escalate, with these bugs attacking several planets much like the Jet Brigade did in the past. If that's the case, it's going to make things much more challenging for us, especially since the Predator strain is already quite formidable in a good way. When you mix it with the other strain types, stopping them will be even harder. If we can't stop them, I'm sure they'll move to another planet and continue to spread until we, put an end to the strain, at least temporarily. Now, I say temporarily because just like the Jet Brigade, where we had to locate and destroy factories, we'll need to do something similar with the Gloom. However, I have a feeling that even if we manage to end the Gloom, these new strain enemies will persist. I believe they'll mate with other bugs, continuing to produce more strain type enemies, maybe the same ones. If I'm right, we'll see these enemies in the future even after stopping the Gloom, which I'm completely okay with since they're fun to battle. Alright, next up, I've seen posts and heard discussions about players wanting to nerf the new Predator strain. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this before we move forward. Do you think the new Predator strain needs a nerf or not? Drop a comment below. Anyway, there's a post highlighting how many players are calling for a nerf of the new Predator strain. One Helldiver pointed out that you can simply travel to planets without the new strain, or lower the difficulty to manage it better. Additionally, this Helldiver made a great point about experimenting with different builds to combat these new enemy strains. On that note, I'd like to offer some help to those of you struggling with the Predator strain types. Starting off, weapon-wise, I suggest either the Cookout, Blitzer, or even the Liberator Concussive. These weapons are excellent choices because they can stun or stagger bugs. The cookout is incredible for this as you can stagger bugs. The blitzer can also stun enemies, providing an opportunity to inflict damage while slowing them down. Lastly, the Liberator Concussive is another excellent option. It can stun enemies and deal damage, making it particularly effective when you're in a team. For stratagems, you have several choices. I recommend the Guard Dog Liberator, Dog Breath, or any gas stratagem since they can confuse enemies. Not to mention, Orbital EMS or Orbital Gas Strike is a good one to use since they have short cooldowns. A Sentry isn't a bad idea either, depending on the mission type. Personally, I like the Guard Dog Liberator for its medium armor penetration, Dog Breath for confusing enemies, and any sentry that can apply pressure on the bugs, especially when they attack in groups. And remember, you only want to use the sentry on specific missions. There are also grenades like stun or gas that can keep predators at bay, giving you some breathing room. I personally prefer stun grenades over gas, but you have your choices. Incendiary grenades are also not a bad choice. What I'll do here is I'll showcase a few loadouts that you can try out. All in all, I don't believe the new Predator strain should be nerfed at all. Just like the Helldiver mentioned in their post, you have your options. You don't have to play on the highest difficulty, nor do you have to land on plants with these strain types. Plus, you can always experiment with new builds, which is kind of the purpose of these new enemies, right? To try out different strategies and see what works and what doesn't. Moving along, the developer's Zendesk site was just updated, specifically the known issue list, confirming a problem with banners. Similar to the past issues with the whistleblower banner, both the new Servants of Freedom banner and the previous one are now appearing in low resolution. I'm sure many of you have noticed this, and it should be resolved in an upcoming hotfix. There's also a bug with the entrenchment tool. Picking it up can cause other support weapons to be held as if they were the entrenchment tool. I suspect this will also be fixed in an upcoming hotfix. Overall, these are the two reported bugs currently on the known issue list, and it's reassuring to see the developers are still tracking specific issues. I'm certainly looking forward to the next patch. If you noticed an issue that's not listed here, feel free to let me know in the comments below what bug you've encountered and what happened. Continuing forward, I have something insane to show you. So there's a Helldiver named Fair Albatross 8520 that managed to catapult himself towards a Palatine. Yes, I'm not kidding. Here's the clip. So as you can tell in this Reddit post here, he gets on top of a hell pod or whatever you want to call it. Then he'll land on top of the autocannon sentry, which is going to launch him towards the Palatine. He then activates the hell bomb drops, and boom, there you go. I didn't even know this was possible until I saw this video, which is absolutely nuts, guys. If you have never tried this out before, definitely give it a go and see what you can do. I think this is probably one of the most creative ways I've seen someone take out a Palatine, especially with the latest Hellbomb stratagem. Pretty crazy. What we're about to go over next is something I was supposed to do a long time ago. I actually responded to this player right here that said, you know, hey, why don't you do top 3 mods instead of recommended loadouts? And I actually liked that idea, so I decided to throw your name into the video. So thank you for the recommendation. With that being said, let's go over the top 3 Helldivers 2 mods. The first mod is Better ICBM Explosion Sound by Lolly100. I'm assuming that's how you pronounce your name. Anyway, this is what the ICBM sounds like once you have installed the mod. It's insane and it's so crazy. The second mod here is by Hello Says and Clava. I've actually talked about this one in the past, but I was never able to showcase it myself until now. Nevertheless, I just hope at some point we can get a Space Marine 2 crossover and Helldivers 2 and all that good stuff. It would be incredible, but you guys can let me know what you think about this mod. Last but not least, we have the M2 Tactical Sword over Combat Axe from Your Lord Adam, and this one is incredibly cool. You actually have a sword. Now, this doesn't make a difference in terms of damage, but it does change the appearance of the combat axe. Last but not least, we have the top 3 comments. If you guys would like to be featured on the channel, all you have to do is comment down below, and that's it. The first top comment is by Greg, and you wrote, in all honesty, if anyone had sent one of these threats, they deserve to have their account banned. If you have the nerve to threaten a dev team, then you don't deserve to play the game they put so much time in. If you don't know what he's talking about, I recommend watching the previous video pretty much there were a lot of players, I guess, that were threatening the developers, and it was getting pretty crazy. And I have to agree, if you want to threaten the team, then maybe you should get your account banned and not just, you know, attack the developers for no reason. The second top comment is by Aaron. Community, give us more stealth. Sure, add stealth stat changes. Community, no, add more stealthy stuff into the game. Adds more stealthy bugs. Community, stares blankly at Warbond screen. You know what, maybe that'll be the next Warbond. Maybe we'll get some stealth, you know, we don't know just yet, we'll see what happens. I think it's definitely possible. Last but not least, we have one box group. Me, fighting stalkers has always been a pain in the ass. Prepare for trouble and make it double. I love the Pokemon reference there. That is amazing. Those right there are the top 3 comments. If you guys would like to join the Discord, the link is down below in the description. If you would like to support the channel and become a member, that I would appreciate a lot. I'll leave a link down below as well. And I appreciate all my supporters as well. Thank you guys so much for the support. And thank you for watching the video. With that said, see you guys in the next one.